Thanks for joining us today for a new episode of Tenacious V's podcast, where I grab some drinks and some friends and do a bunch of research and tell you some awesome tales of women through the ages. We cover all sorts of women: mythological, historical, civil rights activists, spies, entertainers, scientists, mathematicians, doctors. Just, every facet of life has women involved, and we're just telling their stories. It's pretty cool. This particular episode is about Queen Seondeok of Silla of Korea, and it was in what is now South Korea. And she was just a pretty badass lady. She led some revolutions and had a full renaissance during her era, with buildings lasting to this day, which is pretty incredible, like thousands of years. And she was known for her architecture, and honestly, just how she dealt with things was so very unique and interesting, and just kind of like, I don't even need to put myself at your level. I can just make you look like a fool by your own doing, and it's great. So we really hope you enjoy this short little episode about this fantastically wonderful lady. Kasuwa Chingu, and welcome back to a new episode of Tenacious V's podcast.
Alright, what is that?
That is Korean.
Oh, okay.
It was the first time I've ever heard Korean, I think, like knowing what it is. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about Queen Seondeok of Silla.
Queen, alright. A queen of Korea?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
No.
I don't think I know anything about
Okay.
this person.
I don't know anything about this person.
I did not either. So she was born between 595 and 610. We don't know exactly when. And she became the very first queen of Silla, which was one of 3 kingdoms of Korea. She was the 27th ruler and the first reigning queen.
So what, up till then they just had kings?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow, okay. Super cool.
It's interesting because the society was matrilineal in the sense of the women ruled the household and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but kings ruled the country.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
So during her reign, she was the first female ruler ever in Korea and the second female sovereign ever in East Asian history.
Around what time was this rule that she had?
632 to 647.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like CE? Or BCE?
Counting up.
Yeah, CE. Okay.
She encouraged a whole renaissance during her reign of thought, literature, and art in Silla.
Hell yeah.
And in Samguk Sagi, which is a history of the 3 kingdoms, it's a historical record of the kingdoms of Korea. She was described as generous, benevolent, wise, and smart.
Those are all quality traits.
Especially for a leader.
So. Yeah, well put.
Totally.
A benevolent leader.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want.
That's what you want.
I mean, unless she wrote the history.
In January 632, she was crowned the queen, and her main concern was her people's livelihood. She told all of her subjects all of the new policies in an effort to be transparent and win them over. As soon as she got elected, or not elected, but crowned.
She just immediately told them what was going to be happening.
Yeah.
She already had a plan laid out, I guess.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. She right away sent inspectors through her queendom to assess the needs of the widows, widowers, orphans, the poor, the elderly, and those with no familial support.
Nice.
And that same year, she sent a diplomat to pay tribute to the emperor of the Tang dynasty of China, and just inform him of their leadership changes, and he just like wouldn't acknowledge her at all because she was a woman.
Cuck.
Yeah. The second year of her reign, she built an astronomical observatory to aid her farmers, and so it was like they could, check for like more weather things and like the stars and changing like things like that,
Mm-hmm.
And then she also gave a year of tax exemption for farmers and like peasants, and she cut taxes for the middle class.
Nice.
Yeah.
These are all very positive things. How many wars did she start?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. How many wars did she start to fund that?
So she was actually elected during a time where it was very like turbulent in Korea. Her part of it, the Silla part, wanted to like take over the other two and kind of like become a unified Korea.
Okay, almost like a democratic, like unification almost.
I mean, maybe just a little bit more violent than
More
democratic.
violent?
A little bit more
Or
violent.
I meant use violence to become like a unified.
Yeah, they wanted to like unify and be one overarching country rather than like the 3 territories within it.
But through direct action.
Okay.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But she won a whole lot of like favor with her people, and she was pretty well liked, which strengthened her against like the male aristocracy as far as like having backing. So then like that second year she sent another diplomat to China, to Emperor Taizong, and he still just wouldn't even acknowledge her at all, just didn't give shit. And then according to the Samguk Sagi, which is that history of the Korean trio, in March of 636, Queen Seondeok fell ill, and like nothing could cure her, no prayer or medicine or like tea or anything, and it was just like the people were like worried,
Sure.
but she like survived. So then 2 years later, a large stone on the side of the mountain, which is like some sort of sacred mountain, just like moved itself. And then 7 months later, Goguryeo attacked the mountain valley.
Who's that?
Some force.
Some force?
South Korean army, like an enemy.
Okay.
Yeah, some sort of enemy.
A Korean army.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember you saying it was specifically South Korea.
They are in South
They
Korea,
are in South
what is now South Korea,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think it might be from one of the other political states. Like it might be.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. And then the next year after that, the sea on the east of Silla turned red, causing all the fish to die. And I like looked into that a lot, and I could not find anything. So it's like there's nothing is like known about that modern day.
Not the sea turning red and a bunch of fish dying.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Like it's written in the books, like the Korean, like it's captured here, but
no like real explanation.
yeah, there's nobody that went and like studied it or anything, and like, oh, that sounds the most similar to this, and this is what caused. You know what I mean? Like I was very interested to see like what
caused that.
made that happen.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find it.
Huh.
So yeah, people were pretty fucking terrified because like when
Some crazy unexplained shit happens.
Yeah,
pretty intense
creates panic.
signs from above were happening.
Yeah.
So they just thought this was these were omens of the end of Silla.
Uh-huh.
And they just thought they were gonna be overtaken, and
Yeah. So did everybody freak out, or how did she handle that? Was she able to like quell this fear that like spread?
I'm not really sure. It just said they got scared, and then they got attacked.
They were terrified, then they were attacked, and everything was bad.
Yeah. Like a year or two later, it was Ouija Baekje, which is the final ruler of the Baekje, another of the 3 kingdoms of Korea.
Okay. That attacked them.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So were they victorious? Like, did they invade the city and take it?
Oh yeah. Well, not. They led like a massive campaign against Silla, and they captured 40 of the fortresses in the west.
That's a fuck ton.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a fuck ton.
And then General Yongchung conquered Daya Fortress with 10,000 men and executed the daughter and son-in-law of Kim Chunchu. He was the 29th ruler of one of the kingdoms.
This was like almost a slaughter.
Yeah.
Just brutal.
And yeah. So then in 643, so the next year, Deng Heng... I'm sorry, these pronunciations are probably
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie,
terrible.
these sound really difficult to pronounce.
Yeah, they
But Deng Heng Fortress was conquered, cutting off like a massively crucial sea route to the Tang Dynasty, like to China.
Oh. It's not good because that would probably be major for trade and transport and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the queen sent a diplomat to the emperor of Tang once more, but this time she was asking for assistance, and he said he would 1. Attack Liaodong and carry out a naval campaign to occupy the Baekje. Good lord. And then 2, he would provide thousands of Tang uniforms and army flags to help disguise her people as Chinese troops.
Oh,
because they were a lot more scary.
Yeah.
And then 3, he would send a male royal of Tang descent to become king of Silla. You know, because they were only being attacked because nobody fears a female ruler.
I got you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The diplomat did not bring this news back to the queen.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So she's on her own.
Yeah, totally.
Pretty, a little fucked at this point.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So she sent for a famous Buddhist, or a well-known Buddhist monk named Zhao Zhang, who had studied under like the great Buddhist masters of the Tang Dynasty for 7 years. So then he came back to Silla and told the queen that he should build a great 9-story pagoda to block invaders and calm her people. So the queen was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'll build this pagoda. So like a pagoda in this sense is like a church.
Okay.
Like it's not just an outdoor.
Sure.
Like it's a building. It's not just a roof.
Okay.
If that
Like
makes
a full
sense.
structure.
Yeah.
Just
And
a
they're
gazebo.
like it's just the 6-sided shape that makes it a pagoda, and
I
it's
see.
like a towered thing. But yeah, it's like for
Almost
worship.
it's like a citadel or something almost. Like a tower, like a monolith or obelisk, like a tower like that.
Now you're saying words I don't know.
I think it's like a temple.
Like a temple.
Yeah,
Not
but
as much like a
there are
monolith.
temples too, but there are also pagodas, and it's just like a different place of worship.
Okay, I see. So it wasn't like this new castle, it was more like this.
No.
Okay, alright.
No. It was an offering to Buddha, and it was like a symbol of her wanting to unify all of Korea together.
Okay. So she sounds like she had really good intentions, but it was the outside world that was really hindering the, progression of this. What was the name of it? The started with an S? The
Silla.
The Silla Empire, yeah.
They're just not liking having a female ruler.
Yeah,
Like,
even though,
they're
all
kind of pushing
intent
back.
was good.
And her people originally did really like her, and
I'm
for
sure.
most of her reign.
Hell yeah. Why not? Look at me.
Transparency is a big way to
Yeah.
lead people. Like, it's a lot easier to follow things when you know what's going on. Like,
Instead of hiding what the government's doing, pretty much.
yeah, I mean that just shows belief in your people to be able to handle what's going on. Because
Fucking, healthcare and healthcare and tax cuts are always appreciated too.
yeah, people like that.
People like that stuff.
They didn't actually want her to build the pagoda though, because it would have meant more taxes for them. So
there goes the tax cut.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and they were also just worried about Silla being broke. They thought they didn't have any money left, and they were kind of going down the drain and using all their funds in battle and this and that.
Sure.
So she was tear down her. She told people to tear down her palace and use its bricks and timbers if they think that they lack the funds. So she just fuck,
Wow.
we're good. We're doing fine.
Nice.
take what I have.
Yeah. So she ended up doing it, and it took 2 years to complete. But she just like did it because she thought it was such an act of like religious devotion, and it would help bring all her people together.
It's pretty selfless.
Yeah. So it was the tallest temple in East Asia at the time, and its name was
Difficult to say.
Hwangyongsa, or Imperial Dragon Temple.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. A lot easier to say.
I like the real name for it though. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So the year it was finished was like 1945, or what am I saying? 645
Okay.
or 646. I
2
don't.
years my ass.
2 centuries. Anyway, sorry. She appointed a nobleman the same year, and his name was Bedam. And she appointed him to the highest position in the court, the Seondeok. And during Queen Seondok's reign, the foundation was like laid to unify the 3 kingdoms of Korea.
Nice.
So a lot happened while she was the queen that was like made it possible for the 3 kingdoms to like become one later on.
Mhm.
Though it did not happen while she was alive. So due to the crisis of the invasion happening, you know, like all sides are attacking, and she's kind of got routes cut off and everything, she tried to form an alliance with the Tang dynasty, and though it brought her some ridicule at first, when the emperor saw how strong the Goryeo, the thing I said earlier, the force that attacked them,
Right.
Okay,
the
yes.
first one. When they saw how strong they were getting, he was like, alright, yeah, and accepted her offer, and so she was working with the emperor of the Tang dynasty.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, she was a pretty solid diplomat and like got
Yes,
definite favor.
Much so.
Definitely seems very good with public and the people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on February, it's sometime in January on the lunar calendar, and I was getting really confused because they were like going back and forth, lunar to solar, and I don't know, I didn't understand because they weren't making it clear which one they were using, and it was like in January, in February, in January, in February, and I was like, I don't know. Anyways, sometime at the beginning of January in 647, a rebellion was started by several of her highest officials. That Badam dude.
Oh, the one that she appointed to the highest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was their leader, and he claimed that since the female king failed to rule the country, women should stop ruling.
Oh, what a dick.
Yeah. He had like a lot of political he had like a lot of political influence.
Mm-hmm.
And so he led the largest rebellion in Silla's history at that point. And this was like especially bad for the queen at this time because a lot of her army was spread out in defense from invasion. So she was like weakened and didn't have like backup, and obviously they knew that, you know?
For sure.
So apparently on the night of the rebellion, the queen was quite ill, and a star like fell near the palace, and Bidam saw this and used his followers' superstition to say it was like a sign of the queen's downfall.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Oh, wow.
And so this
That's
general
strange.
that was with her, Kim Yushin, told her not to worry, for he had a plan.
Oh, cool.
And so he took a
Alright.
giant a kite with a burning scarecrow like hanging from it and held it in the sky to make it look like the star had come back up.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
That's awesome.
yeah, the Bidam's guys, like his forces were super discouraged after that. They were like, ah shit, it came back. She's good.
Right. Superstitious lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, very clever though. I mean,
Totally.
on both their parts to just they're trying to take advantage of it, you know,
Yeah.
natural phenomena. Because,
Definitely.
I mean, they'd already scared the people with the blood red water, and then,
That's right.
oh no, man, no, she's not doing it. Like, this is her downfall. Look at it.
Yeah.
Hold on. Buy anything.
Yeah,
Look at the
right.
burning scarecrow.
Exactly.
She's fine. I like that.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Awesome.
So these two generals, Kim Yushin and Kim Al-Cheon, another, like, they're two, like, well-known generals. They suppressed the rebellion on January 17th, 647, and Badam and his troops were executed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Got him.
Good. Traitors.
So it was 30 men. So the queen unfortunately died 1 month later on February 17th, 647. And it's unknown exactly what killed her, but it was probably like whatever she was sick with.
I was gonna ask, yeah, it seemed like she was consistently pretty ill, like a very sickly almost woman.
Yeah, she
Wow.
was for like a while, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean,
She was only like at most in her 52.
at the time that was pretty old, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I think Asians have always
5th
lived
century.
kind of a long time though.
Oh, okay.
Better diet. I don't know. But still, that
Practices.
seems like a long time to me.
50 years is, yeah, that is a long time.
Yeah, I don't.
So she was buried in a tomb on Nang Song, which is a sacred mountain in Gyeongju. I keep wanting to say Mongolia. Korea.
Korea.
The ruler that was crowned after her was her cousin, who became Queen Seondeok,
Nice. So
the
they kept
second
the-
female ruler of Silla.
Nice, they kept the...
Female ruler going. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So she built the Imperial Dragon Pagoda, but she also built like all sorts of other like pagodas, temples, and Buddha statues all over the country. Like she really liked Buddhism and was pretty well versed in it, like from her father, who's the one who taught her
Okay.
about it, which is pretty cool. And then she also built that observatory, which was the first observatory in the Far East, and it still stands to this day, making it the oldest observatory in the Far East.
Sick.
Yeah,
Definitely dope.
That's some good architecture right there.
super cool.
Yeah.
So it's in the Silla's old capital of Gyeongju, South Korea. She had 3 husbands in her lifetime. I don't know. I was really confused about this actually, because it was saying that she like never married, but then she also had 3 husbands, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's not what
It was
that
really
is.
interesting.
Those
You
are
can't
two
pick.
very
There's-
different
yeah,
things.
Yeah, you can't pick that. Then you get one or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the 3 it said she had were Kim Yong-chung, and he was once her Sangdae-jung, which is the highest office, like the Bidam guy had
Oh, okay.
for her. And then there was Old Jae, and he was also that office position for her.
Okay.
And then Lord Humban.
Did she put these men in these positions, or did she just have a thing for guys in that position?
No, she put them in
Little
that
column A,
position.
little column B.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she put them there because she was interested in them for that position.
So you blew it, Dom.
But so at one point, like when she was unmarried, the Emperor Taizong of China, he sent her a painting of 3 peonies with seeds to grow, like peony flowers.
Oh, wow.
And when she grew them, she said it was pretty, but probably has no smell. And when they bloomed and died with no scent, people were like, how the fuck did you know that they would have no smell?
So how did she like know that the flowers wouldn't have a scent? Did she just have like knowledge of them before they were sent to her, or was she making a guess, or did she tamper with it?
She had no sense of smell.
No, so she said the painting showed no butterfly or bees beside the flower. When he sent me this gift, Emperor Taizong was mocking me for not having a husband. She may have built Temple Bun Huangsa, or Fragrance of the Royal Temple, in response to that gift.
That's a big fuck you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That temple. That's awesome.
But yeah, he
Very
was like
subtle,
saying
too.
that
Hell yeah.
they were unwanted, basically. Like people didn't want her and her, you know, like as a leader or anything.
Other than the 3
Turned it on
possible
him,
men
man.
that she married, but
Clever.
she really did. It's
Yeah.
very clever. Also, just so observant. Very Batman
Yeah.
of her to be like, "There's no butterflies on there. It doesn't." Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
That's
Yeah, that's
Peonies
deduction.
are beautiful, though.
powers of deduction.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is awesome. I really like that.
All right, you're gonna love this next story too. Then, so 5 years into her reign, Queen Seondeok defeated an invasion with some froggy allies.
Froggy allies?
Yeah.
She used frogs?
So the frogs were gathered in like huge numbers on a winter day, and they croaked endlessly for like a few days, and like it was like a certain way that they croaked and like a certain direction that they were facing, and all these things that she like interpreted correctly to mean that there was foes in this certain valley called the Valley of Life. And she said that was another sign that they were like sure to win the battle and everything. So she
superstition
sent,
again.
Yeah,
Totally.
And it was like her knowledge of yin and yang that like made her able to complete that, or like understand that task, you know, and like.
How so? Can you elaborate on that?
Like with the frogs would basically, they would change their croaking depending on where these people were, like the enemy was positioned.
Well, because it was like an imbalance, because they were like camped out in the forest, and it brought like unrest to the frogs.
So the frogs would have to move and croak over here.
Yeah, and they were like mad too, you know, like they were angry, and so she just like took all these things and like interpreted like what was wrong with the balance, and it was like all this weird like specific Korean symbolism of like white, and white is west, and this and that, and like
there was an upset in the balance though.
Yeah, it was
all right.
The force is strong in this one.
The force is strong with Queen Seondeok.
Okay.
It was called the Cradle of Life. I'm sorry, not the Valley of Life.
Ooh.
But so she sent 2,000 of her best men there, and they ended up defeating like the 500-person camp that was in the valley, and then also the 1,500 like backup soldiers they sent to reinforce once they had defeated them.
Nice.
Because they like took them by surprise, and like they just defeated everyone because of the frogs.
Nice.
So then this is my last little bit about her. But there was a young man, and his name was Jigwe, and upon seeing the queen in town, he fell madly in love, and he just like didn't care about age or the status difference between them. So he stopped sleeping and eating, and would just call her name all day long. And eventually he spotted her in town again, and the guards tried to get rid of him, but the queen asked to see him at the palace like later. So he went to the palace, like followed them, and she had him wait outside, and he waited behind this pagoda for so long that he fell asleep. And then the queen like came out, and she like ordered everyone to leave him alone and like not wake him up or anything. But she like took this bracelet off and put it on his chest so he would know that she was there, and like went back inside. And then when he woke up, he was like burning with love so much that he like lit on fire. And he burned himself in the pagoda down.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then there's like two other versions of the story, and one is where the guards
So intense.
beat the shit out of him to the point where he can't move before he ever gets to see the queen. And then the other one is she won't let him see her, so he goes to the palace and burns himself and the pagoda down, like just as an act of devotion, like just does it.
That one or the ass beating seems the most likely, like, historically accurate version. Probably got his ass beat.
Probably. I mean, even in the original version, like, they didn't just, like, say, no, you can't see her. They, like, threw him to this, like, they picked him up and threw him to the side.
Yeah.
So.
That is crazy. I don't know. I like the whole, was so struck with love, just caught fire.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea, but...
Other than burning the
But he didn't
building down.
spontaneously combust.
He superheated himself with love.
Man, it's spontaneously combusted.
It was his raging boner that caught fire. The wood sparked.
Jeez. That was...
So what did you guys think?
I thought that was an interesting end.
There wasn't much information about her. There was
Okay.
another like little legend thing, but I liked those ones.
Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot. It seems like a lot of just like legends and hearsay. And so
Well, I mean, it's from 630s.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. But very superstitious people. But that was good. It shows that she's like, I like that it showed that she was selfless and just very good with interaction, with her diplomacy, and
Yeah.
good with the people and stuff, and wanted, obviously to do well, but was hindered just because of people's fucking bullshit, fucking values kind of thing.
Scylla actually did prosper during her reign, though. Like, they did
awesome.
very well, and like I said, she brought about, like, the renaissance of art and music and all sorts of things. So.
Exactly, like...
And astronomy.
Imagine, it sucks because you can only imagine what she could have accomplished without all that fucking, fucking with all those derailing that she had.
Yeah, and just the pushback from, like, all other...
The other kingdoms and culture,
Yeah.
people just didn't believe in her, and she still was able to accomplish.
I mean, imagine if she had been, like, born into an era when Korea was unified already, and so she could just focus on, like, bettering her people rather than, like, unifying everything and
Exactly,
kind of taking over and stuff,
Right.
and getting invaded by her neighbors and...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
sounded like a constant fight, and then the whole thing with her seemingly sick the entire time, like, doing that ill as well is very impressive.
Yeah, just trying to keep your head straight and
Exactly.
focus on everyone else while keeping yourself alive.
Yeah.
Very, very admirable.
Definitely.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. Well, thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you guys enjoyed that, tell your friends, or give us a follow on social media. We are Tenacious V's podcast pretty much everywhere. You can listen on Podbean, YouTube, and Spotify, and these episodes are brought to you by Nona, Will, and Johnny, and the music is done by Staple Milk. Come back next time for some more historical heroines.